Hello, comrades. This is Comrade Q, here for some more anarchist propaganda. Or should I say woke propaganda? I'm an anarchist, so. And yes, I do like Che Guevara. That's probably oxymoronic, but oh well. Today I will be watching The Soy Pill, who is a lefty YouTuber. I usually like his videos, but this one I disagree with. So, like I said, the Soy Pill is definitely is one of my favorite lefty YouTubers. Well, maybe not one of my favorite, but one of them that I do like. It's just his take on Luigi Mangione I disagree with.
Hey, it's me, the Soy Pill. I was trying to finish up my new video, but breaking news calls. The United Healthcare CEO was assassinated by a Mario brother, and I haven't seen the country more united since Pokemon Go almost caused world peace. And this bipartisan glee makes sense. People are fed up with their shitty healthcare, struggling with premiums, being denied service and left in pain, and watching loved ones suffer and die for corporate profit. A lot of people, like me, were raised watching horrible things happen that were out of our control, like wars, oil spills, corporate greed and wealth disparity, and all of the injustices that made us feel helpless. And this Chad comes along and says, hey, you're just a couple $100 away from being the change you want to see.
Luigi did that. It was a prophecy.
It's like one giant middle finger to the rich and powerful that mass influence our lives, who we previously thought of as insulated and untouchable. If even Ben Shapiro's audience is happy, you know that this is an issue that speaks to everyone, even if he tries to frame it as a left-wing crazy guy, which doesn't come from nowhere, by the way, because no matter how much his audience disagrees, they probably voted for Trump, who's trying to make your healthcare worse. But really, this guy transcends the political spectrum and had opinions all over the place. He hates rich elites, but his family was also rich elites.
Right. Your position doesn't make you a hypocrite for what you believe. Like if you want to dissolve if you want to dissolve evil class hierarchies and you're and you're in a wealthy position, that doesn't make you a hypocrite. Friedrich Engels was relatively successful.
Wants more progressive healthcare, but he's against identity politics and DEI.
Now, those are two different opinions, and you can't say that someone's only either left wing or right wing. There's multiple different spectrums that you can be left wing or right wing in. Like Nazpol is like National Bolshevism is a great example. So I don't so so you could so yeah sure you could want you could want progressive healthcare, but you could also not like SJWs.
Even represents the gamers of America with a Steam account and the inability to have sex, not to mention the most scary thing to the elites. Oh no, he's hot! And I'm not going to pretend like I feel bad about what happened. If anything, I'm optimistic that this sparks a larger conversation about moving the country to a more European model of healthcare and holding the rich and powerful accountable for all the pain they cause. But my hot take on the situation has less to do with the greater narrative and more with the personal level of this one dead guy. Let's be real. This guy dying is not what's going to change things. No one really...
Yeah, we need all the guys to die. This is a joke, don't cancel me. Even though cancel culture doesn't exist.
Really knew his name until he was already gone. And he's already been replaced with an equally nobody CEO that probably won't change anything.
And we are going to make sure that we not only acknowledge and honor that legacy of Brian.
Brian Thompson's legacy is bad. Though, in America, I'm sure that would be quite a controversial opinion. Not liking people dying because they can't afford healthcare, a bit of a controversial opinion.
But we'll continue it. Our role is a critical role, and we guard against the pressures that exist for unsafe care or for unnecessary care.
If this guy had a heart attack, no one would care, unless he died because he couldn't afford the heart surgery because of an insurance denial. That would be kind of funny. No, the reason this might change things is the anger and frustration that was channeled through the assassin. It was a cathartic release for all the pent-up rage that we were told could only be expressed through voting really hard. If only Bernie knew that he could have saved millions and had the right wing on his side too. And I think, while this might have good outcomes,
I agree. Electoralism is I will take the opportunity to say electoralism doesn't achieve much, because in 4 years everything could just be undone anyway. So real change comes from revolution.
if it shifts the conversation, we should try not to just kill people, and not because of some milquetoast reason, like murder is wrong, but more from the progressive position that in the same way I want to move to a European healthcare system, I want a European prison system that's focused on reform instead of retribution and punishment. These scumbags should be punished for what they do, but I don't think they're inherently irredeemable. There's a great book by Hannah Arendt called Eichmann in Jerusalem, a report on
I will say, yeah, people can be rehabilitated, but usually usually most of the time people are redeemable. Like no one's going to say that Hitler was redeemable except from Nazis.
on the banality of evil. It follows the trial of a Nazi bureaucrat named Adolf Eichmann. Eichmann was in charge of logistics for rounding up Jews and other innocent people and deporting them to concentration camps. So his work directly contributed to the deaths of millions of people. When we hear about Nazis, we usually think of some SS officer putting people on their knees and shooting them into a ditch. But there were thousands of office workers that were completely removed from any death or killing and were just as responsible for making those deaths happen.
Just like Brian Thompson.
The book highlights that sometimes evil isn't some larger-than-life figure gunning down the masses. Sometimes it's just some pencil-pushing nerd. I don't know about this CEO specifically, but I'm willing to bet that most CEOs...
Right. I'll be honest, I'm not sure about it. I don't know for a fact either. But let me check him. Brian. Oh, Brian Thompson. Death count. Okay, never mind. A vocal fringe has cheered the murder of CEO United Healthcare. Right Sale SOM leader Jeffrey. Okay, never mind. It's just the headline. A very un-American response to the murder of Brian Thompson. That's knowing America's economy. That's a good thing. $10 million. He made $10 million. You know what? I'm going to try this again. I'm going to try this one more time, and then how many how many insurance denial okay. It is one of the most critical questions people have when deciding which health plan to choose. If my doctor orders a test or treatment, will my insurer refuse to pay for it? After all, an insurance company that routinely rejects recommended care could damage both your health and your finances. The question is um the question is the question becomes ever more pressing when many working Americans see their premiums rise as their benefits shrink. You know, in America, they've also said, like, there's also been a law passed where where they where they give you where insurance companies give you DNA tests. Well, not a law, but a policy. Test health insurance. Oh, fucking hell. America. Okay, I just heard this somewhere. Anyway, I'm getting off topic.
Or people in companies like Exxon, BlackRock, or Northrop Grumman aren't laughing gleefully at the thought that their work is blowing up some child in Yemen. They're so disconnected from reality and consequences that death and suffering is just a number on a screen to them. And their immediate concerns are corporate profits, people's jobs, and what their kid will have for lunch tomorrow. And I'm also willing to bet that if they were constantly faced with the material reality of the destruction that they're causing, if they had to be on the ground, meeting the people that they deny care, watching children be blown up with their weapons, or standing in the middle of the forest that they're burning down, they might have a change of heart. Like an Iron Man! He saw the bombs bad, and he became Iron Man! That's a Marvel movie. Real life is like the Marvel movie. It's so much easier to do evil when you don't see the direct consequences. If I gave you a button and said hitting it would kill a child in Africa, hold on, let me tell you what else happens. Hitting it will kill a child in Africa, but you get $10 million. But I highly doubt the same amount of people would say yes if I gave them a knife and said, there's $10 million inside this African child's stomach.
You're equally immoral if you press that button or if you carve $10 million out of an African child's stomach.
And you have to carve it out of them. Oh, what's that? You wouldn't say yes to the button either? Well then buckle up, bitches, because I'm about to get preachy. Turn the finger around and point it at yourself for a minute, because I know most people, me included, aren't vegetarian. And by not...
That's where I got you. I am vegetarian. I became vegetarian at the New Year's.
doing so, we are directly participating and contributing to the mass suffering and torture of animals globally that have just as much emotion and feeling and capacity for love as our treasured dogs and cats. And not a single person listening is hearing this for the first time. I know I'm doing this every day, and I either ignore it or justify it. But I'll bet there's a non-zero amount of people watching who wouldn't eat meat if they were constantly shown factory farm torture videos before every meal. It's so easy for humans to do terrible things, not because of a lack of morality, but because of the bubbles of delusion and yes men that we surround ourselves with to make our shitty society work. And if we can pop those bubbles instead of shooting them in the back of the head, I think that's better. I'm not saying that every pencil pushing monster would change their mind just because they saw the direct downstream effects of their actions. Adolf Eichmann was actually kind of a terrible example. Israel executed him because they showed that he had visited the camps, saw the mass killings, and was totally okay with it. In fact, he was quoted as saying, "I will leap into my grave laughing because the feeling that I have 5 million human beings on my conscience is for me a source of extraordinary satisfaction."
Hey, shoot that guy.
And if the United Healthcare CEO had a similar lack of remorse, I also think that Israel should have been spending every American dollar putting him and others like him on trial. Not every criminal is reformable. I'm not naive.
Yeah, of course. But whether someone will change their minds if they see it happening or not makes no difference. If you have no conscience, if you don't have enough of a conscience to not send those people to their graves, then it doesn't make you any less bad. It just makes it easier for you to pretend that you are less bad. There's still the intent of killing, of having someone be killed, and then make more, make more money, and and there's still the action of doing so. Whether someone does it directly or indirectly makes no difference. So, it doesn't make you any better if you hire a hitman to kill someone, or if you kill them yourself. Murder is murder. And also, using the meat analogy, because of the culture around, because of the worldwide culture, basically everyone accepts eating meats. So while I find it immoral and I personally choose not to eat meats, you know, it is certainly, there's certainly a difference between doing that and being a CEO that denies people's insurance and then sends them to a grave.
But when we turn this human murder into a symbol of our rage, are we really better than him when he reduced people's lives to numbers and
Yeah, we are.
graphs? Yes. Yeah, we're still way better by several miles, but we're definitely dipping our toes in the ocean of immorality. I'm just saying.
Loads of Nazi officers died in World War II at the hands of British soldiers. People still celebrate Winston Churchill. I mean, there are plenty of things wrong with Winston Churchill, but I think it's, commonly accepted that that's not one of them.
Saying that maybe these conversations can happen without murder, and maybe.
Yeah, I agree. They should have, but if they wanted, maybe they should have started those conversations. But maybe there was a difference between saying I think if there wasn't a murder necessary, then there'd be free healthcare by now. Because like Bernie Sanders wants free healthcare for America, yet everyone just goes la 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 communist. So maybe a murder was necessary to kickstart it.
We're all capable of doing horrible things if we're insulated from consequences. Maybe if Europe can vote hard and get good healthcare, we can too. And just maybe these people don't deserve death if they can find remorse and spend the rest of their lives using their immense wealth and power that they probably shouldn't have to atone for all the pain they've caused. But hey, at the end of the day, that's just my preference. If this keeps happening,
They still, if they do that, yeah, I said do, then sure they should be, then sure they deserve not to be killed. They'd be mostly redeemed, but killing like thousands, if not millions, that shit stays on your that shit stays on your record of morality forever.
a good chance they move all the C-suite meetings to underground bunkers before they change our healthcare. But if it turns out this is the only thing that moves the needle, and believe me, the needle needs to be moved, I'm not exactly gonna cry over spilled CEO. Oh, an even hotter conspiracy take, just so I can say I called it 50 years from now, when President Haktua declassifies the files. What if this whole thing is a big cover-up by other people in the company who wanted the CEO gone so he couldn't be investigated for insider trading and implicate them too? And it's all a greedy, cynical power move being framed as activism so we never suspect a thing. My patrons got this breaking news commentary one day early, and you can too. Click the Patreon link in the description to join and help me stop working to create shareholder value.
To be honest, I think maybe it would be better to actually, I'm gonna say this outside of the screen recording. So yeah, I don't like Brian Thompson at all, obviously. But maybe but I will agree that his death certainly wasn't all good. Because it's always sad when pigs die.